HeartStream, let's talk about the technology behind it and what made it so innovative for the time, and where it's kind of pushed us to the industry now.
Well, I think it was size. I would say, if you want to focus on one thing, it would be size, and obviously user interface. I think both were very, very important. So, low energy biphasic was really an enabler of size. That had been something that had been accomplished in the implantable defibrillation world prior to that. It was discovered that ICDs could be made much smaller, require much less battery, and were obviously then much less cumbersome to people who had to wear them inside their chest through a different methodology of delivering the energy, the defibrillation charge, if you will, in multiple phases, 2 phases rather than simply 1. And so obviously the energy levels involved, because you're not dealing with the same level of transthoracic impedance that you have when you're doing an external shock. The energy levels were much, much different. But the engineers speculated that, essentially their hypothesis was we can scale this to an external defibrillator. And so they did. And after some calculations and study and understanding, thoracic impedance across the spectrum of human beings, which is really quite wide, they came up with a 150 joule impedance compensating methodology for delivering it. And sure enough, after testing it initially on pigs and then in a couple of human clinical trials in the EP lab, they found it works. It sufficiently works just fine. It's not necessarily any more effective than the high energy methodologies that are used out there, either monophasic or biphasic. But again, being the enabler that it was for smaller devices, less battery capacity and all of that became critically important. And in fact, the Forerunner battery is really quite small. It was 1 year, and that was critical to the size of the device. One of the adjustments that was made in FR2 was to have a much longer life battery. I think it was either 4 or 5, I don't recall. And it slightly increased the size of the device, but it made a huge difference in terms of cost and use. And so that was a nice compromise there. But still, just overall, the package that you had was very much enabled by that delivery system, that energy delivery system, if you will.
Yeah, no, that's great. And, we are using a similar waveform and energy, so it's nice to hear that. And it's been proven that it works, over the years. It saved countless lives. So that's amazing.